Got it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our conversations. This is going to be the first of this year for 2026. It's hard to believe we are already here. So I'll just give you a little recap. If you have not been following both of us, me and my friend Nafreet's conversations, we are two moms who I think about a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago,
Yeah.
two moms who found each other, and we had many personal, or you can say private conversations, and we realized how we both have same kind of fears, same kind of concern, and we both work on walking the path of love, unity, and divine oneness. Nafreet is from a Jewish background. As you can see, I'm a very visible Muslim. Our conversations created a lot of spark, not in the right way. But here we are together to talk about what can it mean to have a world where there's no division. And if you're on my page, if you don't know me, I am the heart mentor. My work is all around the heart, opening it, healing it, and living from it. So I'm going to let Nafreed introduce herself and then we'll dive into the conversation.
Yeah, that was a wonderful introduction. I don't know if I have much to add to it. I had my own healing journey that led me to find a connection to love essence inside of me. Healing journey from eating disorder, near death, almost kind of like a near death experience with my eating disorder, an awakening. A diagnosis of autism that explained a lot about how my brain works. And I found myself in the path of following love and wanting to share my journey as kind of trying to be love and light here in any way that I can. So, and I think my journey with Alia has been evolving and expanding, and we're winging it every time, every one of our conversation. It always has such a just an amazing outcome. So I'm looking forward to
That
more.
is that is so true. And usually we meet about 15 minutes before our conversation to go over what happened in your life, what happened in my life, and then we talk about what is it that we are going to share. But today there was none of that.
Yeah.
We both jumped right into it. And it's going to be very interesting conversation, I know. So, few things that popped up in my world, right, like literally 15 minutes before we got here, this thought came to me that, unity is not a good business. And I want to just check with you if you'll be open to exploring that.
Sure.
That, when there is a division, when there's like you're different and I'm different, there's a lot of business that can come out of it. We can make a lot of money
Mm,
by like, creating different products and services and whatnot to
right.
further create that separation. There could be like, it could be in the form of an organization, it could be in the form of written material, it could be just in the form of a lot of energy that gets invested. But when we talk about unity, if let's say, me and you get to see a world where people can see themselves in another human being,
Mm,
beyond their skin color, beyond their religion, beyond their thought process. If they can see that, when I look at this person, whether it's my neighbor or a random stranger, I see myself, then there's not a lot of money that we can make off of that.
mm,
So that is something popped up, and I wanted to explore that. And I also wanted, like, whoever is listening, wherever you're listening, whether it's live here on Facebook or replay, or you're watching this on YouTube, invite that. And it's not just on a global level, it's also in your home. If just a husband and wife, they can start seeing like, I see myself in you. What what are the businesses that are going to go out of business? Like what are the things that someone else won't be able to make money because of that kind of unity? That is just the truth. Even the work I do, I got here because I needed to heal myself, and I learned and I invested and I continue learning. And if a person doesn't go through trauma, trauma is just separation of soul and the ego. They're supposed to stay one, but when they separate, if a person doesn't go through trauma, I have no work here to do. And that is a kind of unity too. And when a person go on that journey with me and they do that deep work of aligning their ego with their soul, then they don't need anybody. They don't need a therapist. They don't need a coach. They don't need another course. They don't need another book to buy.
Mm.
And that is unity. So I'm gonna let you take it from there, Nefri.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating topics. You always bring up really interesting topics that kind of spark a lot of thoughts in my head, and there's always so much to talk about. It's interesting that you said it. It's very true, and it's kind of like the medicine industry, the pharmaceutical industry. And there's so much knowledge and so much lore, and there's an entire pharmacy outside of our window, or outside of our house, in form of medicinal herbs and weeds, but that's not going to make money for anybody. So you're not going to hear about the pharmaceutical companies advertising, oh, you should go outside and pick this and this and that because that's going to help you with your headaches. No, they're going to advertise their pills because that's why would they? It's available for everybody that way. So it's kind of like,
And I just want to interject that separation from nature. That's
mhm,
where we lost
yeah.
separate. That's like, unity with nature. We lost it.
Absolutely. So there is that, and they're feeding that to us, and it creates this kind of division. All this knowledge from thousands of years ago that human beings have attained, kind of lost over the years because of advertisement and the companies, the big pharma. But also, I was thinking as you were talking, I was thinking about how we are here, and I had a really interesting conversation with my mom. We are here. She's often asking lately, why do we have pain? Why are we all these difficulties? She's been through a lot in her life. Why? And I say, well, can you imagine if you came here, all these difficulties and challenges that we have is so that our soul can, in this physical form, can learn and expand. And I mean, it's kind of like going to the gym. Without a little bit of resistance of weights, you cannot develop muscles. And so if you came here with all the knowledge and all the knowing already, where would there anywhere to go from? So we have challenges so that we can learn and grow. And then I was thinking, could there be a world that, you know, you and I, we're striving, and all the light workers, we're striving to get to a point where we're all leading with harmony. We're all leading with unity and love. And then I'm thinking, what kind of world is that going to be? Can we live in a world that everything is just harmony all the time? Everything is following the ways of love. And I was thinking, absolutely. It's just that right now, in our human concept, um, we don't know what we don't know, And like, can you imagine a color you've never seen? Can you imagine a reality that in our minds, like, oh, you have to have all these challenges. You all have to have these kind of, but I think it's just because of that's what we know right now. And there's possibilities for everything. And you're saying, okay, I'm not going to have a job if there's not going to be conflict. There's not going to be, adversity and diversity and all these things. And diversity is good in many other senses, but it's kind of like when people were freaking out about, oh, we have computers. Now they're going to replace all the workers in the world. There's not going to be any jobs. Well, guess what? There's new jobs now. So there's always going to be, people are very, very afraid of change, and people are afraid of the things that they don't know, and it's natural. But throughout history, we always change, we always evolve. And when we change and evolve, new things and new opportunities open up. So I think you're right. Right now, it serves humanity to have all these, especially the leaders and the people in power. But even to people like you and I, there's going to be new things. And to me, there's only one way. There's the way of love. And once we all find how to lead with that, there's going to be new opportunities and new doors opening to amazing things we maybe never even could even imagine. So yeah.
Yeah. When I think of this topic, I think of it like, from the internal level, like within me, then within my family, and then, from inner to outer. And just within me and within any individual, if there's more unity, there's less stuff I need.
Mm,
Because a lot of stuff that we need, whether it's like, doom scrolling, whether it's, a relationship with food or a relationship with shopping, it all starts from some kind of separation.
mm,
So that's why we are fed more separation. You're not enough. You're not perfect. You need this thing to make
true.
yourself feel better. But I think it really comes down to our own personal responsibility to
Yeah.
be able to see that. Like, as you were talking, I had this thought, so I quickly wrote it down that separation exists to invite unity. But
Interesting. Yeah.
it can only happen if we see it that way. Then it becomes a personal choice. Like, just look at me and you. I don't think so. We have any reason in the world right now to be on this call and having a conversation, just given like, the global situation. But me and you made a choice to learn about each other, to be curious enough and see that, we are same. So I think that choice to discover unity wherever we are, whether it's within us, whether it's between me and my child, me and my partner, me and my family, and then me and my community, and at a global level, it's a choice. And we cannot get there unless we get to the level of consciousness. There things could be a different way. Like you were talking about, how would the world look like if
Hmm.
we all started loving each other?
Hmm.
Our mind can't even comprehend that because as long as me and you have lived, there has been at least one war going on, at least some part of the world. Like there has never been 100% peace in the world. So our mind can't even comprehend that kind of harmony in the world. But if we just ask ourselves, would I want to be part of that? Would I want to create that? Or maybe do the work now so it is easier for our kids to create that because someone has to do the groundwork. Do I want to be part of that? Then I think the challenge becomes, how do I get to that place of unity within me? As you're doing your inner work and all the health challenges you have come through and you continue to go through, I continue to work within myself. That is like, leading up to that I will say balanced place where we can experience it unity within us and then we can bring it to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. No, what you started with was perfect. Like separation exists to invite unity. I mean, that's kind of like, again, that's one of those challenges that we are given when we come here into this physical existence. Again, if we came here all as just one global community that everything was already working, where is there to go? How are we going to? And the whole point is having the challenge, overcoming the challenge, and making it our own choice. We choose unity out of separation. And when it's our choice, that's the catalyst for growth. Because if we don't have the choice, when do you have a choice? You have choice when things contradict. So when if we didn't have that contradiction, we wouldn't have a choice to make. We wouldn't have anywhere to grow to. So, it's interesting because us humans, when you pick up a book, a good book, or when you watch a movie, nobody's going to want to watch a movie where you start the movie, everything's already great, everything is harmony, everybody's loving each other. That's boring. I don't want to watch this. Everybody knows that every good book has a conflict in it, has a beginning, middle, end, and has a conflict to overcome. So I think in our mind, if I told my kids, would you want to live in a world that it's just all harmony? I think most human would be like, you know what, that would be boring. But again, that's because we never really we have to develop to that point. We have to kind of work towards that and understand that once we do, that would create more opportunities of existence, ways of existence that would actually serve us in that way, that we would enjoy and be a part of each other. And what you said about how, like, we always have choices, all of the world is working around separation. It's the not accepting of the others, that all the industries and yourself, the way you are, the industries are profiting from. You shouldn't love your body the way it is. You shouldn't love the way you look. You should always strive to change that, if it's your weight and if it's your color, if it's your. Absolutely. Everybody's gaining from that. But one last thought is that, kind of like going to my point earlier, is that once we get to the point where we create harmony and acceptance, and we understand that not just in our logic that we're not separated, but feel we're kind of be able to kind of merge our consciousness. I experienced in my spiritual growth, my growth, and a lot of people that I hear from their own spiritual work, it's kind of exponential. It's kind of like dividend funds. Once you start growing, more opportunities come, and it kind of like doubles itself, and that triples itself. So once you start working towards that inside yourself, accepting the others, loving starts from acceptance, grows towards love. It, you don't even know how it's going to just develop into, again, all these opportunities of existence, that you enjoyable opportunities where violence is not going to be needed, hate's not going to be needed, and it's not going to be a boring world. It's going to be a world where people are going to thrive in a different direction. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And, especially when you talked about, um, like if you ask your kids, do they want to live in that world? And how interesting it is that our nervous system can't even comprehend. That's the same as like, when someone is coming from a very difficult relationship, their nervous system has only seen chaos. So it will keep going for familiar chaos. And that is something I've been retraining my nervous system to experience calmness for the first time. And I see how there's self-sabotage and how
Mm,
difficult it is for my nervous system at some point. One of the things that, as you were talking, that came to me, what really gets a person to even like, make the choice to walk towards that unity again, whether it's internal or external, they are working towards, is the desire to have the same thing for other what we want.
mm,
So for example, if
yeah.
I want more money and I desire that you get more money too. If I want to be a peaceful household, I desire that my neighbor is a peaceful household. I think that is what connect us with that deeper thread that
Mhm,
exists between all human. And when we activate that, I feel like it becomes easier to walk towards someone else or even to walk towards different parts of me.
mhm,
And activating that desire, it could be like, something I can just sit there and make a choice, or I can work through what kind of world I want. And I would like myself to have this, and also my neighbor to have that too. Me and my son, we were having a conversation one day about global events,
mhm,
and I was just sharing with him that one of the problem I have, that's why I don't participate in those conversations. Everyone wants good for their people.
mhm. Okay.
Like, everyone is advocating for their people. Oh, this is what we want and this is how it should be. And we are missing the conversation. How about we go a step further and we create for all,
That's right.
peace for all, happiness for all, and joy for all. And there are not many organizations who are even talking about that. That's why we have, like, every organization has like an agenda,
Yeah.
even if they're a peace organization or like, the group of people they are representing or the group of people they are protecting. And I think what is really required in the world to have more of those organizations who are pro peace, period.
Mhm.
And we can at a global level we can bring negotiation at that level, but even at a unit level, like within me, within my family, within my community, where we can talk about the whole community thriving. Like there are very few towns that I have seen that will serve like every single person or different, different like demographic and whatnot living in that town.
Yeah.
Usually there's like a community group and whatnot. Yes, it's funded by the town hall, but it's focused on one group of people only. They're not including everybody who lives there. So I think when we get to a level that we can expand beyond just me, my people, those who look like me, those who talk like me, I think that is what's required for us to create that world where everybody thrives, where nobody has to, like, watch their back or be afraid for anything. And I just wanted to share, like, this is a concept I didn't know. I thought that's just how world is, that you
Mhm.
just like, you just fight for your own people. It
Sure.
never felt internally aligned. So what I did, I always stayed quiet in those rooms or
Mhm.
in those conversations and just observed. It wasn't until I, like about 2.5 years ago, when I started studying with Kabbalah Center, and I could see like, not, of course, the teachers they have that, that is their goal.
Yeah.
But even the students they attract, like, somebody like me or somebody who's coming from a very different background, we are already at the frequency. I want love for all. I want peace for all. So if someone is looking like, where do I go to find that kind of organization? That is one that I know. But they don't teach you to be a global leader. They teach you to be a leader for yourself
Yes,
because everything starts here.
exactly.
And what I am putting out there, that 2026 becomes the year where there are more organizations who are working towards peace for all.
Yes. Amen to that. You know, it's um it's interesting that you say that because between us, we started talking before the war in Israel and Gaza started, the escalation. And then we started talking as the war was already heated up. And um, kind of I out of, my previous all the programming and the way that I was, it was the country that I was always my mother country where I was born, and I put this flag, the Israeli flag, on my to show solidarity with my country. Nothing, no other thought than that, just to, hey, I'm with you guys, I'm here, but my heart is also with you. But then, and I created this poster for our first talk, and something kind of didn't resonate with me, didn't feel good about that. And I realized that what didn't feel good was that when I put the flag of one of the countries that I love, it just kind of separates me from the Palestinians and everybody else that are involved in this conflict. And I'm not just for one country or one people. I'm for everybody, for all humanity. So I removed the flag because that's exactly why. I'm not just for the people that, I grew up with. I'm because that's just a suit. And I am for the prosperity and well-being and just what everybody deserves, peace for everybody across the borders, everywhere. And to me, that separation of I'm imagining a world where land and people is not going to exist anymore. My people, your people, that's just not, that is just a tool of separation. But I feel like um the 26, the year 2026, so I've been seeing numbers, a lot of synchronicities. I know angels talk to me numbers. They talk in many, many ways. That's just another language. 26 has been showing up for me a lot. And before I knew the meaning of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this number keeps showing up everywhere for me. I looked it up. And 26 in Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism is the number for the sacred word of God, Jehovah, Yehovah in Hebrew. That is the word for God. So I'm like, I'm having a lot of, hope that this is the going to be the year of God, the year that a lot of change in the global change is going to happen in the collective consciousness, and thriving and the ways of love amongst everybody is really going to start taking place. But one last thing that I wanted to say, that you say, it starts with the self, and that's absolutely true, with the desire. And the thing is, we're talking about harmony and why have a world with harmony and harmonious and without conflict. The thing is, once you start practicing love, the ways of love, it just feels so good when I sit in my home and I just do this. I just send out love for myself. I extend it out. I extend this kind of frequency as a gift to the world. Just take it. Whoever needs it, take it. I'm extending that itself just makes me feel good. So it's sort of like once you start feeling it, you want to keep feeling it. You want to keep feeling that way of love. So I think once people start practicing that and being love, extending love, there's almost like no going back. Like why would you want to live otherwise? Once you taste that feeling of being love here, that's the most amazing feeling in the world. So I think,
And because it's a soul memory. There was a time there was no separation between us. We all come from one source.
yeah,
And when we start practicing that way of being, it gives us that joy, that inner satisfaction, that flavor in your mouth that you want to keep tasting it over and over. And as you were talking about just global change in 2026, the way astrology is and what's happening, it is definitely going to be the year that goes in history books in all the good ways. And I look at it, who's going to make it happen? It's going to be us individuals, like, 8 billion plus people who are going to make it happen. So if more of us can move from me, my people to good for all, and it could also be like, even in like, family units, like, we are six siblings, everybody have their own home. Usually what happened, one person wants to be the richest, the most beautiful, the one who has everything together. If just at a family level, we can take that and we can remove that jealousy and separation and be like, I want my whole family to be rich. I want all of them to have good health and good relationship. I think if we can just make that shift right now,
yeah,
it is going to change the way our world works. And when that separation is gone and there's more unity, it is going to impact some businesses for sure.
mm,
Because separation is a good business and it is supposed to be here, but every human has their own choice to lean towards unity and just explore what's possible in unity, what's possible as you were talking about a world, what's possible if there's no borders. Like I can imagine like, so as a Muslim, we believe that, Adam and Eve, they descended from heaven to the earth and then earth was created for them and, then they procreated and we all come from Adam and Eve, right? I'm pretty sure when they just came in, there was no country.
Hmm.
There was no borders, there's no
Yeah.
separation. And sometimes I just tune into like, how did it live? How did it feel to live at that time, or how they experienced life, or how they
Mm.
presented themselves, or like, what was it like? Can humanity get to that level of consciousness? With that, we're gonna start wrapping up. We are coming at the half an hour mark. Nafreet, anything you would like to say as we close today's topic?
Yeah, I think again around like the unity and it's really interesting for me to see and think of how and and you started all the way to the beginning of time really, but there's always been a notion of love in the world throughout all religions, throughout all philosophies, throughout history of humanity. Everyone on their own timetables and their own time, they got to the understanding that they call it a different name. You call it, Allah or God or Christ or Jehovah or Jesus, whatever that is, or philosophies or the way, the Tao. It's always love. There's always this uniting force, and everybody got to the same answer in different times in history. So we all know it. Every culture knows it. I mean, people took it and kind of bastardized it and made it their own to use it as fear. But at the core of every knowledge and like philosophies and religions is that uniting force of love. So there must be something there.
Yeah.
So we're developing that, and I'm hoping this year is going to be absolutely a year of change.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm trusting whoever is listening to it, if you find it helpful, this conversation, it sparked anything within you, please share in the comments with us. Please share it with other people. And our intention is to invite more people to have an internal conversation. What does love means to me? What does unity means to me? What does divine oneness means to me? Wherever you are in the world, and then bring those conversations to, to your immediate family, to your friends. And can we put out a frequency that does say that I am not separate from the person who's sitting across from me, or who's on the Facebook, behind, the computer screen, or on Zoom. Can we create more of that? And that is just an invitation for everybody. And with that, we are going to conclude our conversation today. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next month, and we're sending love to you all.
much love.
Thank you for being
Thank you.
here. Just stop the recording. Do you want to stop the